Hello and welcome to English Tales Academy. Today you will listen to a story full of emotions and surprising truth. This story will help you improve your English while you follow a life-changing journey and judgment. Have you ever lived in a house where everyone was loved except you? Where your achievements were ignored, your pain went unnoticed, and no matter how hard you tried, you still felt invisible? Tonight, you will hear the heartbreaking story of Emma, a quiet girl who spent her entire life fighting for her mother's love while watching her younger sister receive everything she ever dreamed of. My name is Emma. I am 25 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I lived in a house where love felt uneven. There were 4 people in our family: my mom, my dad, my younger sister Lily, and me. From the outside, we looked like the perfect American family living in a quiet neighborhood with trimmed lawns and Christmas lights every winter. My dad worked long hours at a hardware store downtown. My mom volunteered at church events and school fundraisers. Lily was the kind of girl teachers adored instantly. Bright smile, blonde curls, confident voice, perfect grades. And then there was me, quiet Emma, the daughter who stayed in the background. The one people forgot was standing in the room. I spent most of my childhood trying to become someone my mother would finally notice. When I was 8 years old, I entered a school art contest. I worked on the painting for 2 weeks straight, sitting at the kitchen table while everyone slept. I painted a picture of our family standing under a giant oak tree. I remember carefully painting my mother's smile wider than anyone else's because I wanted her to look happy. The day I won second place, I ran home carrying the ribbon so tightly my fingers hurt. "Mom," I shouted as I burst through the front door. "Look." But she barely glanced up from helping Lily practice spelling words. "That's nice, Emma," she said quickly. "Can you keep it down? Lily has a test tomorrow." I stood there for a second, waiting for more. A hug, a smile, anything. But nothing came. Lily looked over at me and shrugged apologetically while my mother returned all her attention to her. That night, I hung the ribbon in my room by myself. I told myself it didn't matter. But deep down, it did. It always did. As we got older, the difference between us became impossible to ignore. Lily got everything first: new clothes, birthday parties, dance lessons. When Lily made the cheer team, my mother cried tears of joy in the school parking lot. When I made honor roll the same year, she simply said, "Good, keep it up." I learned to stop expecting excitement from her. My father noticed sometimes. I could tell. Late at night, he would knock softly on my bedroom door. "You okay, Em?" he'd ask. And because I didn't want to cause trouble, I always nodded. Yeah. But I wasn't okay. Not really. There's a certain kind of loneliness that comes from living in the same house as people who cannot see you. It changes you slowly, like rain wearing down stone. By the time I was 16, I had become an expert at disappearing. I stayed in my room reading books for hours. I volunteered at the library after school. I learned how to make dinner because my mother was always busy driving Lily to soccer practice, singing lessons, parties, or shopping trips. Sometimes I wondered what was wrong with me. Why was Lily so easy to love? Why did my mother light up around her but grow tired around me? I used to stand in front of the bathroom mirror studying my reflection. Brown hair, soft eyes, freckles, nothing special. Maybe that was the problem. Lily walked into rooms like sunshine. I slipped into them like a shadow. One Friday evening changed everything. I remember every detail of that night. Rain tapped against the windows while I sat at the dining table finishing homework. My parents thought I was upstairs. Lily had just gotten accepted into an expensive summer program for music students in Chicago. My mother was thrilled. "We'll figure out the money," she said. Dad sounded stressed. "We're already behind on bills. She deserves this opportunity." Then came the sentence that split my heart open. "She's the one with real potential," my mother whispered. Silence. And then my father quietly asked, "What about Emma?" I stopped breathing. My mother sighed heavily, like even hearing my name exhausted her. "Emma will be fine," she said. "She doesn't need much." I sat frozen in my chair. The rain outside grew louder. My chest hurt so badly I thought I might actually collapse, because suddenly everything made sense. Every forgotten birthday detail, every cold response, every moment I tried harder and harder, only to receive less and less. I was never enough for her. Not because I failed, not because I didn't try, but because somewhere along the way, my mother had already decided Lily was the daughter worth choosing. And I was simply there. That realization changes a person forever. After that night, something inside me went quiet, not angry, not dramatic, just tired. I stopped trying to earn her love. I stopped waiting by the door to show her my report cards. Stopped asking if she wanted to spend time together. Stopped hoping. Senior year arrived quickly. Lily continued shining brightly while I drifted through school unnoticed by most people except one, Mrs. Harper, my English teacher. One afternoon, she stopped me after class. "Emma, have you ever thought about writing?" I laughed softly. "Not seriously." "You should." She handed me one of my essays. At the top she had written, "You have a voice people need to hear." I nearly cried reading it. Because no adult had ever said something like that to me before. That night, while everyone else slept, I began writing in an old notebook. Stories, thoughts, pain, dreams. Words became the only place I felt visible. Months later, Mrs. Harper secretly submitted one of my essays to a statewide writing competition. I won first place. There was even a small scholarship attached to it. At the ceremony, parents filled the auditorium clapping proudly for their children. My father came. My mother didn't. She had to help Lily prepare for regionals, Dad explained awkwardly. I smiled and pretended it was okay. But while standing on stage accepting my award, staring at the empty seat beside my father, something inside me finally broke. Not loudly, quietly, like a thread snapping. After graduation, I left for college in another state with 2 suitcases and a heart full of unresolved grief. My mother hugged Lily for almost 2 full minutes before she left for Chicago that same summer. When it was my turn, Mom gave me a quick pat on the shoulder. "Take care of yourself." That was it. No tears, no "I'll miss you," nothing. College changed me. Distance gave me room to breathe. For the first time in my life, I met people who listened when I spoke. Friends who valued my quietness instead of treating it like emptiness. Professors who encouraged my writing. I slowly began building a version of myself that didn't depend on my mother's approval. But healing isn't linear. Some nights I still cried, wondering why I was so hard for her to love. Years passed. Lily became a successful singer online. My mother proudly shared every achievement on Facebook. Meanwhile, I became an editor at a publishing company in Boston. Quietly successful. Quietly healing. Then, one winter evening, my father called me. His voice sounded older. "Your mom's in the hospital." I froze. Apparently, she'd had minor heart surgery. I booked a flight home immediately. Walking into that hospital room felt strange. My mother looked smaller somehow. Fragile. Lily sat beside her holding flowers. When my mother saw me standing in the doorway, tears filled her eyes unexpectedly. "Emma," Just hearing softness in her voice confused me. I stayed for several days helping Dad around the house while Lily returned home for work obligations. One night, while washing dishes together in silence, my mother suddenly spoke. "You always made everything easy for me." I frowned slightly. "What?" She stared down at the sink. "You never demanded attention, never caused problems. Lily needed constant support, constant reassurance." Her voice trembled. "I thought because you were quiet, you didn't need me as much." The pain in my chest returned instantly. "You were wrong," I whispered. She nodded slowly, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I know." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said the words I had secretly waited my entire life to hear. "I failed you, Emma." I broke down crying right there in the kitchen. Not because it fixed everything. It didn't. Childhood wounds don't disappear in one conversation. But finally, she saw me. Really saw me. Not as the quiet daughter who needed less. Not as Lily's shadow. But as her child. Her daughter. The one who spent years believing she was unlovable. After that visit, things changed slowly between us. Carefully. Awkwardly. Like learning a new language. My mother began calling me more often. Asking about my writing. Reading every article I published. Sometimes she'd randomly text, "I'm proud of you." And even though part of me still ached for the years we lost, another part finally began healing. Because I learned something important. A parent's inability to love you correctly does not define your worth. I was never too quiet, never too plain, never not enough. I was simply a daughter trying desperately to be loved by a mother who didn't realize how deeply she was hurting me. And despite everything, I survived. Not because someone chose me first, but because eventually I chose myself.